A gaming card became the chip that controls the world, NVIDIA's life before the AI revolution. What if I told you that the world's most important AI company wasn't created to build artificial intelligence? It was created to make video games look better. The same graphics card that once powered teenage gamers is now powering ChatGPT, billion-dollar AI startups, self-driving cars, scientific breakthroughs, and even the race for global technological dominance. So how did a gaming company become the company that controls the future of AI? The answer is a story almost nobody saw coming. Intro, 0:15 to 1 o'clock. Today, NVIDIA sits at the center of the artificial intelligence revolution. Its chips have become some of the most valuable pieces of technology on the planet. Every major AI company wants them. Governments compete to secure them. Data centers worth billions of dollars are built around them. But none of this was the original plan. For decades, NVIDIA wasn't known as an AI company. It was simply the company that made graphics cards for gamers. Many investors believed gaming was its ceiling. Many analysts thought it would always remain a niche hardware manufacturer. What they didn't realize was that while everyone was focused on gaming, NVIDIA was quietly building the foundation for the biggest technological revolution of the 21st century. This is the story of NVIDIA before artificial intelligence changed everything. Chapter 1, The Restaurant That Changed Technology. The story begins in 1993. Three engineers met inside a small restaurant in California. One of them was Jensen Huang. Computers at the time were becoming more powerful every year, but graphics remained slow and limited. Most companies focused on making faster CPUs. Very few believed graphics processors deserved serious attention. Jensen Huang believed the opposite. He believed graphics would become one of the most important technologies in computing. It was a risky idea. The gaming industry was still relatively small. The internet was in its infancy. Personal computers were expensive. There was no guarantee that consumers would ever need powerful graphics hardware. Despite the uncertainty, the three founders launched NVIDIA. The early years were brutal. Money was tight. Competition was fierce. Several early products failed to meet expectations. At one point, the company's future looked uncertain. Many startups from that era disappeared. NVIDIA somehow survived. Chapter 2, Betting Everything on Gamers. By the late 1990s, video games were becoming more realistic. Developers wanted richer worlds, smoother gameplay, and more detailed graphics. Traditional processors struggled to keep up. NVIDIA saw an opportunity. Instead of trying to compete directly with CPU manufacturers, the company focused entirely on graphics processing. In 1999, NVIDIA introduced the GeForce 256. The company called it the world's first GPU. For gamers, the difference was dramatic. Games became faster. Graphics became more realistic. Developers suddenly had much more creative freedom. The gaming industry exploded. NVIDIA became one of the biggest names in PC gaming. To the outside world, the company had found its identity. It was a gaming hardware company. Nothing more. Or so everyone thought. Chapter 3, The Secret Inside Every GPU. Behind every GPU was something far more important than beautiful graphics. Unlike traditional CPUs, GPUs could perform thousands of calculations simultaneously. Originally, this architecture existed only to render images. But researchers noticed something unusual. Those same calculations could solve scientific problems. Weather simulations. Medical research. Engineering. Financial modeling. Physics. The GPU wasn't just a graphics processor. It was a machine built for massive parallel computing. This discovery would eventually change everything. But first, someone had to believe in it. Chapter 4, The Billion-Dollar Gamble. In 2006, NVIDIA launched CUDA. To most people, it sounded like another software platform. In reality, it became one of the most important business decisions in the company's history. CUDA allowed programmers to use NVIDIA graphics cards for purposes far beyond gaming. Scientists could write software that transformed gaming hardware into supercomputers. The problem? Almost nobody cared. Wall Street barely noticed. Revenue barely changed. Investors questioned why NVIDIA was spending enormous amounts of money developing software instead of simply selling more graphics cards. For years, CUDA looked like an expensive mistake. But Jensen Huang wasn't building for the next earnings report. He was building for the future. Chapter 5, Years of Invisible Progress. Throughout the late 2000s and early 2010s, something unusual happened. Universities started buying NVIDIA GPUs. Research laboratories adopted them. National supercomputing centers installed them. Scientists discovered they could solve complex mathematical problems dramatically faster than traditional processors. Most consumers never noticed. The headlines still focused on gaming. But inside research institutions, NVIDIA was becoming essential. Every experiment, every breakthrough, every improvement made NVIDIA's software ecosystem stronger. Competitors still focused primarily on hardware. NVIDIA quietly built both hardware and software together. That decision created one of the strongest competitive advantages in modern technology. Chapter 6, When AI Arrived. Artificial intelligence had existed for decades. But around the mid-2010s, deep learning began producing astonishing results. Researchers suddenly needed enormous computing power. CPUs weren't fast enough. GPUs were perfect. The exact architecture designed for video games turned out to be ideal for training neural networks. Demand started growing rapidly. Researchers bought more GPUs. Universities bought more GPUs. Technology companies bought thousands of GPUs. Then came generative AI. Large language models. Image generators. AI assistants. Everything accelerated. Suddenly every major technology company wanted NVIDIA hardware. Not dozens. Not hundreds. But tens of thousands of GPUs at a time. The company that once served gamers now powered the AI revolution. Chapter 7, The World Depends on NVIDIA. Today, NVIDIA sits at the center of one of the biggest technology shifts in history. Its chips power artificial intelligence systems across industries. Cloud providers build massive data centers around NVIDIA hardware. Startups raise billions of dollars to buy its GPUs. Governments recognize advanced AI chips as strategic assets. What began as a gaming company has become one of the most influential companies on Earth. And perhaps the most remarkable part of the story is this. NVIDIA didn't become successful because it chased AI. It became successful because it spent decades preparing for a future that almost nobody else believed would happen. Ending. The greatest companies rarely become great overnight. They build quietly. They invest patiently. They make decisions that seem irrational in the present but become obvious in hindsight. For nearly 20 years, NVIDIA looked like a company that simply made graphics cards. In reality, it was building the foundation for the artificial intelligence revolution. And when the world finally realized what GPUs could do, NVIDIA wasn't trying to catch up. It was already waiting at the finish line.